welcome back to the FIBO Football Festival. We're coming here from the content studio. Thanks to Euronics that we have the space to interview guests, and my next guest is Niels Rosjat, Head of Statistics from the European League of Football. Welcome, Niels.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's nice to have you because we want to talk about fantasy football, a topic that's been around since last year. And first of all, I think for the upcoming season, if I want to get involved into fantasy football, where do I sign up and what do I need to know?
Yeah, if you want to sign up to the new fantasy football season in 2025, you can just go to our website. We will have a link to the fantasy football for the ELF. Then you can just log in there, register for the upcoming season. We will start roughly 2 weeks before season kickoff with the fantasy football, and then you will get all the information on our fantasy football website.
Okay, great. And how is the process with fantasy football? Do I need to get my friends involved to get together for a draft, like we know from NFL fantasy, for example? Or is it more like what we know from soccer, from the soccer space, that we have players and we get points for the players? What's the, I guess, game mode here?
Yeah, the game mode is exactly what you said. It's a mixture of what we know from the NFL and what we know from the soccer space. So you will have your budget for your players. You can buy players. They will be ranked according to how good we expect them to be, how many points they will achieve. So the better players will be more expensive, obviously. Players that have more space for improvement, they will be a bit cheaper, so then you can decide on how to buy the players to get the best team for your fantasy football team. And you can go together with your friends. That's new for this season. You can join leagues with your friends, so you will be ranked together. You can see how your friends are performing, what teams they are placing for the upcoming week, and then you can really compete. That's the main advantage of fantasy, the community engagement. You can get together with your friends and see how they are performing. Have some small bets maybe within your friend group. I have the best team. My team performed better because I was the better manager. I bought this player. You didn't see it coming that this one will outperform the other players.
Okay, so competition is one of the main motivators and on the forefront, I guess. So if I want to get more invested into the game via the European League of Football, then I have to sign up for fantasy football, I guess.
Actually, you will sign up for fantasy football. We're planning to also provide with news for your fantasy football team so that you can see how my players performed last week. Maybe if we get the information right away, if your players are injured, so that you know the status of your players, so that you don't have to wait until game day. You set your players and then you're disappointed because you didn't know that the player was injured and you lost your points. So then as soon as we get the information and we can put it out there, then it will be also available for you so that you can plan ahead, get involved in the depth of fantasy football to plan really what's the best team for you to win against your friends, but also in the main leaderboard against all the other fantasy football players of the European League of Football.
Okay, nice. I think before we get more into the nitty-gritty of the information and how we get to the information and the ranking of the players, let's talk about fantasy football has been around in this league since last season, so we're going into the second season. So let's talk about the differences that the users might have that have already participated last year in comparison to this year.
Yeah, so as I already mentioned, we will now have the option to join friends leagues to see how your friends are doing. You will also have more information about the player statuses, and we're also planning to get rewards that you can achieve. So maybe the best team of the week will get some badge or something, and other levels where you can compete. And if you achieve this level, you will get some ranking in this sense. And maybe interesting for many of the players as well is that on game days and also for the season total, we are planning to have prizes for the best teams according to maybe the best points for this game day, top 3, or I'm not sure what is the cutoff there, but we will have some small prizes during the game or during the weeks, and then in the season final we have a major prize at the end.
Cool, nice. It sounds like a lot of fun to get involved in, and quite a good sport actually, so I might also sign up with my friends and compete. But I think it's no coincidence that we're here with the head of statistics, because statistic is, I think, the foundation of fantasy football. Otherwise we couldn't rank the players, we wouldn't know basically who gets the points or not. I think that's the most important thing. So how do the points come, or how do we get to the points? Where do the statistics come from, and how do we get from statistics to points? Walk us through that.
Yeah, so as many probably don't know, within each stadium, each franchise, they have their stats crews on site, so they will record every play, every passing play, touch, rushing play, the yards, tackles, interceptions, touchdowns, statistics that you know about, you can name it, it will be recorded somehow. You will be putting it in live. So obviously there's a short delay, you have to put it in the computer, you see what's happening there, you wait for the referee's decision, what if the play is really final, then it's put in the system, it will be transferred to our database, and from there we can have live access to also put the information to the fantasy football website so that you can track live how your players performing. That's something that we're also doing new this season compared to last season. Last season we calculated all the stats post hoc, or the stats are performed live, but the points are computed post hoc, but now we're doing it also live so that you can, while watching the game, you can go on their website and see how many points I've already achieved. Do I need to get a good game tomorrow so that I get past my friends this week, or am I already on a good way? So that's the important thing. So you really need to put in all the stats. You have it live in the database. And then, yeah, in the end, you can then calculate all the fantasy points that are important for fantasy football, and you're good to go.
Okay, thanks for walking us through the process, how the stats go from the field into the system of fantasy football. And to wrap this up, like I said, don't forget to sign up around 2 weeks, you said, before the season starts, to get involved into fantasy football. But let's talk more about the statistics, because like we said, you're the head of statistics. Statistics is the foundation of fantasy football, but statistics is also what's really important when it comes to the game of football. And also there's a change from last season where we had the statistics on I think external website, we can say it like that, and now they're more ingrained into the ELF website. Tell us more about that. Where does everybody now find the statistics, not only in fantasy football?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you're thinking about the NFL or football in general, you're thinking about obviously the action on the pitch, but also besides that you have the statistics. You're always interested in what's happening, who's the best player, the most yards, the best rookie, everything that you can think about you want to have as statistics. And last season, as we had the old ELF website, we created the statistics website Sports Metrics. Besides, so when you wanted to have all the full detail and statistics, you had to go to Sports Metrics. You get live statistics, play-by-play data, records for season, for the careers for the players, or also go to player profiles. And now, from this year starting on, we moved the statistics to the main ELF website, so that you don't have to navigate through main website for maybe Game Pass usage, then you go to Fantasy Football on the other side, and then you go to Sports Metrics to look at the statistics. So the aim is having everything that's important for the fans in one place, so that you can really check out all the important information on the main page. We started with the most important stats from last season, the season statistics, but we're planning to move everything like career statistics, player profiles. I think they will launch very soon in the next upcoming weeks, and then from week to week we add more information from Sports Metrics to the ELF website. So that's something we can really look forward to, that the ELF website will finally be complete in this sense.
Nice. Yeah, I think that will come in very handy to follow a season with so many game weeks, so many different teams, with even more players per team. Because, I mean, I guess in football we have quite the big teams, and it's hard to know who are the best players in each team and hard to keep track. So having it all in one space will come in, yeah, pretty sweet, I guess. And talking about the best players, right now on the ELF socials we have the rankings, the top 100. And I'm guessing, by the sound of head of statistics from the European League of Football, you had something to do with it. So walk me through it. How do we get to the top 100 players based on the statistics that you work with?
Yeah, so that's really important thing to add. It's really a top 100 list based on statistics. So obviously some players, they're complaining. You have to see, I'm playing really well, but it doesn't turn out in the statistics, why I'm not the list, why I'm not the best player. So really this list is based on statistics. And we're also trying to acknowledge all the players playing for the ELF. They're playing the soul out, they're really invested in the league and they're doing the best, and we also want to show who did a really good job, and this what statistics wise being a really good player. So also that's why I found it important to not separate the position groups. So we merged all of them together, even though it's hard to compare. I mean, you have a quarterback, is he better than the punter, for example? That's one question I got through a lot of messages. So why did this quarterback rank lower than this punter? Quarterback is more important. So in this sense, the ranking is more like every player is compared to his peers in the same position. So what are you ranking based on your position statistics? So the best punter gets a really good grade, maybe better than an average quarterback, because just the average quarterback is not the best in his position group. So I took all the statistics that are relevant for positions, ranked the players within the group, so only comparing punters with punters, quarterbacks with quarterbacks, running backs, on everything that's important. So for quarterbacks it was passing yardage, obviously, touchdowns, also interceptions, which was less interceptions, better rating. But also I took into account the running ability of the quarterback, which is, we had a lot of debate on this. Because you can be a very good quarterback, not run the football a lot, still be very effective. But I wanted to take into account the Zach Edwards of the ELF that really put a next level on rushing. So that's why some quarterbacks also ranked a bit lower, because they didn't run the ball as much as others. You can say that's unfair, but somewhere you have to decide. And that I found it more important to have some basics to see really how all the players come together, all position groups. That's what I decided for. And yeah, I think it turned out quite well, even though, yeah, there are a lot of discussions, as we said, but.
Okay, yeah, I think you can discuss it, I think, back and forth on how do we rank it by what comes into the calculations, what statistics do factor in. But when it comes to the top one, I think it's not already out there, so we don't want to spoil anything, but what criteria would the top one player of the European League of Football need to qualify as such?
Yeah, to be qualifiable for the top ranked player in the league, you will really need outstanding statistics in your position group. So if you're a linebacker, you really would be outstanding in the linebacker group. So yeah, you can't compare it to other groups, but if you're the linebacker that is really by far better than any other position or other player in the same position, then you have a really good chance of being the top one player. But obviously there are a lot of positions, so we don't know, is it a linebacker, quarterback, punter? Maybe it's a punter, maybe it's a kicker. Specialists are really important for the league. We saw a lot of improvement in specialists as well, so we'll see.
Nice. We'll stay tuned for that, who will come out on top. But like I said, there's some feedback on social media already on why the ranking is as such, and thanks for talking us through it, because I think that sheds a lot of light onto how this ranking comes to play. But in a way, can you also understand the criticism of the fans and maybe the frustration on the ranking itself?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, you can't make it right for everyone in the end. You have to define some criteria, and since I, as the head of statistics, I don't have time to go through the film of all the 1,000 players that played for the ELF in last season. So to have some acknowledgement for the players, we decided to really...
It's quite loud here because right now behind us there are the Rheinfire cheerleaders on the FIBA Football Festival. So bear with us, but yeah, I hear you. So I hope everybody else does too.
Yeah, it's a really good job in cheering.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, where were we? So the frustration of the fans, and obviously you understand it because we're not able to review everybody in the league. But I think the next question then is, why do we even do it in the first place? If there's maybe also a spectrum on how, let's not say accurate, but how much space for interpretation there is in making these rankings.
Yeah, so why did we do it? I mean, we could simply say, yeah, we just don't put anything out there because we don't have the capacity to do it the proper way with ranking everything based on film and rating everything, every single player on what he really did on the field. And that's fine, you can say, yeah, we don't do it. But in the end, for me, it's more important to show the players to the world, so which players really outperformed their other players in the position group, show them respect through this post, see like the fans, tell them players that they haven't really thought about maybe, that most of the time you're focused on your team. Maybe with fantasy it gets a bit more spread because you need to check other players as well, but most of the time you know your players from your team and maybe the opponents, you see, oh, this one performed really well. But with this top 100 league you have the chance to really meet new players, discuss with others, get the community going, talk about why you think that's bullshit. I mean, that's possible. You can discuss it, and then you really see, yeah, that's...
Atmosphere here is great at the FIBA Football
really
Festival, but thanks for talking us through it, because now we have more understanding of what you do and how do we do the rankings. We have more understanding about fantasy football, which is amazing that it comes up now this next season. And I think also you have been around for a long time in this league, and you've brought a lot of new things and innovation and very cool things like the fantasy football to the league and the statistics. But what are you most excited for going into the 5th season?
And from my point of view, the most exciting thing for me is basically all the new players that come into the league, and now being able to look at the data. Now we're collecting so much data from all different sides, not just the statistics, but also from on side, from the officials, we get more data. So going from where I'm coming from as a data scientist, I'm really excited to look into the data, not only collect it, but also analyze the data, get more insights, maybe provide information to the franchise, to the coaches, to really get the game more interesting for the fans, but also develop the game in Europe with the statistics or with help of the statistics. That's what I'm looking for.
Cool. Yeah, we are looking forward so much to the next season, also with fantasy football and the statistics. And thank you for talking us through everything. Thanks for being here. And well, you'll see more from the FIBA Football Festival here, and sign up for fantasy football around 2 weeks before the league starts.